you know.
Yeah, straight, because 2013 here we had Pat Cannon and Willie Ryan and Brendan Dawn were all coaching.
Yeah.
Had 3 cards.
Yeah.
We used to do a bit of training up in the Garda.
In Garda Club, yeah. God, that would not have happened. That would not have happened.
Yeah, sure. Just chat away to me and about that.
Yeah, okay.
I actually have the book, I have the big pot inside in the change room. If we want just to have something to work off.
Yeah,
Just a chance
okay.
about that, but, otherwise, yeah, we just
Chat, yeah, okay.
you probably have this is yourself.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Johnson.
Seems to pop up in nearly everyone's house.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid. Anyway, so how you got started? What brought you to the boat club? I know some of the guys mentioned there used to be a scout set down to the Ag Day open day or something, trying to pick out the big ag sites.
Yeah. No, I just, it was, I guess during the Freshers Week I came across the boat club stall or stand and thought it might be a nice thing to do. So I came out and I came out for a couple of Saturdays and then I kind of dropped off, and then I ran into Tom Stokes, who was the captain at the time. And Stokes, this is about January now, having come out in October 1st. Stokes was the one who said, look, you know, come back out and sit in. So I did, and I didn't make the Maiden A crew that year, I made the Maiden B crew, as we called it in those days, novice crew. And rode through that summer and really enjoyed it, actually. People like Martin Feely were on that crew. Feely that was then promoted onto the A crew. And then the following year I rode junior. That was, so 69 I joined the club. Following year I rode junior. Rode 5 in the junior crew. It was quite successful. We won about 5 or 6 pots. And then I got on to the senior crew in 72. I wouldn't have a hope nowadays with my size and weight. I was under 12 stone, about 5'8", but anyway, I sat in the bow seat, and when I look at the lads, the size of the guys rowing now, like I wouldn't have a hope in hell of getting on to any of the crews nowadays, you know. I suppose there weren't too many people around in those days, maybe.
So you would have joined the same year as, say, the likes of Martin and...
Yeah, Martin and Jim Skelly, Tom Galligan. Pat Brady was a year earlier. I think Dave Keyes might have been a year before David died in Canada. John Kenny was there in that year as well. So yeah, the core of the animal group would have joined around 69, same time.
So as you say, you were smaller than...
Oh, it was tiny, yeah.
Was it kind of obvious at the time that it was a sort of big... I don't know how big they were, but kind of powerful sort of crew?
They were big, they were 6 foot plus, 14 stone kind of men. They were, I suppose, in the maiden years, let's say the maiden year, they were big and awkward but powerful.
Yeah.
So when the following year, when they were in the junior crew, and then the senior crew wasn't going so well, and there was a bit of a crisis, I suppose. And essentially 3 or 4 of that junior crew were promoted onto the senior boat. So people like Martin and Tom Galligan, Jim Skelly, Pat McBride, they joined the senior crew, and were successful immediately. You know, that was in '71. I think they won the senior pot that year.
Yeah, they did. I think Gannon Cup was their
They won
first race.
probably the Gannon. It was probably before the Gannon that the crisis kind of erupted. Pat O'Neill, I think, was captain that year. And very courageous thing to do, very risky thing to do, courageous to say, look, we're going to drop, 4 or 5 guys off the senior crew and promote these young raw guys who had been novices the year before, were 3 or 4 months into a junior regime, and put them onto the senior boat and give them the responsibility of rowing the Gannon and so on, and all the regattas and a few heads that followed, including Putney Head, I guess. But that was successful, and they formed the core then of what was began to be called the Animal Gang, or the Animal Crew, from 71, 72, 73, 74, and so on. And I suppose Tom Sullivan probably got hold of him as the coach of the senior crew, and refined, that kind of roughness into very very powerful, strong, just sustained performance. It was, I can't remember who.
I hear Jeffrey Page kind of mentioned as someone who might have.
Yeah, Page came over.
Mixing the novices with the seniors.
Yeah, Page came over, I think, midway through. I don't know, was it my year or the previous year, so 71 or 72, to kind of supplement what Tom was doing. Page was, Page was influential as well. But I mean, to be honest with you, if there's only one individual that you could hold out as being the man who drove UCD rowing during that time, it was Tom Sullivan, without any doubt. The club owes a huge debt to Tom. He gave so much time and energy and emotion to rowing, and every night in winter and summer, cold weather, bad weather, rain, Tom was up and down the bank cursing and swearing half the time. You knew the boat was going well if you heard Tom whistling in the dark. You knew it was going badly if you heard the curse. And the bike shaking, and but Tom was a great man. He gave huge service to the club, and others as well. I mean, Page as well. I wouldn't in any way denigrate what Page did. He had a bit of polish to the thing, but Tom was the main man who sustained the club through good times and bad. And people like the late Donald Lenihan as well, who played their part. Tom's brother Pat, who coached novices, or maidens as we call them, and many others as well, who just gave their time in good times and bad, and just kept turning up, kept going on, and gave tremendous kind of heart, emotion to the club, as well as the time. So it was a great time. It was a very exciting time. We trained very hard by, I suppose, the standards of those days. Maybe not anything like what would happen now. And we were lucky. We won, I don't know, about 5 or 6 pots that year, and we won the big pot by a short canvas against Guards.
Yeah, I think that's
Jesus.
That's a story in itself, right?
Oh, that was, yeah, because we'd gone to Henley 2 weeks before the pot, and then we came back. We were pretty tired, I think. We went down to Athlone and were beaten by a junior Guards crew who had come into, they won everything at junior level, come into senior level. They beat us in Athlone by about a length. We were shocked, really were, because we'd been winning everything, heads and regattas up to then. And so it was building up for the showdown then in the pot. And there were 6 boats. We started, and the other 4 boats just fell behind, and it was guards and ourselves, neck and neck all the way through. We went under the bridge. I think we probably went in under level, came out under level. Guards claimed they won. I was in the bow, and I know we just barely shaved it by a canvas, or a half a canvas, or a couple of feet, or whatever. It was a great race. Never forget it, really. And a great feeling afterwards,
It sounds absolutely vicious. I mean, Martin gives his version of it, like where he used to look out towards his oar, kind of.
Yeah.
And he just says, like, the guys just never moved. Like,
They were just there. They were just there. They may have gone ahead of us. I think when we came out onto the bridge, Martin up the rate, and we went for it. I know Jim. There was a little bit of a wobble towards the end, but we recovered. And it was, everything was spent. Everything was left out in the water that day, from guards as well. It was a great race. So
it's a funny bit they give in the book there about who was it, Don Redmond.
Yeah, Don claims the guards won. Yeah. No, there's no question that we won, but just barely. Just barely.
I think Martin was worried he lost James Skelly as well. He said there was serious noises coming from the
From Skelly, yeah. Yeah, Skelly was he gave it everything. Yeah. And there was a little bit of a wobble about 150 metres from the end, but we did recover.
Speaking of Jim Skelly, and speaking of, I suppose, Tom and the passion or the heart, I think he brought things like he said one thing Tom used to instill in him anyway that really struck a chord with him was doing your parish proud and things like that, because the thing you notice about the group in general is that they're kind of from all around the country.
Yeah.
Where you're from?
Waterford.
Yeah. Again, not Dublin,
No. That's true, actually. Yeah, they're mostly men of the country.
There's the kind of a hint that Tom himself kind of had the distrust of the Dublin.
Yeah.
They'd really have to prove themselves ahead of the country first.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's true or not, but there's certainly, I suppose there would be a bit of the GAA ethos of, you play for the jersey and the parish and the family and all that. There probably was a bit of that. But it was a great time, really. It was a great time. There was great camaraderie as well in the crew. And, Sans on, I think most of that crew stayed rowing, on and off over the years, over the decades even. And some still rowing, and Martin's still coaching. You still see him hanging around, the various regattas and the boathouses in Henley.
Yeah, you see Tom on the bank.
Tom's still on the bank today even. You were saying Tom's on the bank. Yeah.
It's trying to figure out what was so special about that people could come from all sides of the country and suddenly click together and stay together and be so successful for those few years. I don't know what
what the glue was. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was there was tremendous dedication. There was tremendous discipline and dedication and seriousness. And I suppose when you're winning, it's a lot easier than when you're not winning. That's for sure. And we didn't have great success as maidens, as far as I remember, novices. But at junior level and senior level, we had great success. We won almost whatever we entered, we won at junior level and at senior level. That helps, that's for sure. And I don't know, it just the crew gelled together. It gelled, and it was fairly coherent as well, in the sense that it came from novice to junior to senior, almost as a core block. There were kind of one or two changes as we went along, but that was about it. I think I took over in the bow seat from Frank McKenna. Jerry Walsh took over from me the following year. But there weren't many other changes.
Yeah, it was kind of a core 5 or
there was a core 5 or 6 there all the time. They were the core block. You know, there were tremendous athletes. I mean, Jim Skelly and Tom Galligan, Pat Brady, Feely, Martin, tremendous athletes, like tremendous fit, strong, powerful, dedicated athletes. So yeah, it was a special time. It was a special time. And tremendous, great to look back on it, really. You know, to look back on it's one thing to put in all that work and effort as well, which you do, whether you're winning or losing. But it's great when you do win. So I think the unsung silent heroes are not the men in the boat, they're the men in the bank, the coaches, the fellas who flog it up and down and stick with it, you know, through good times and bad. So yeah, poor old Dave Keyes sadly died. I think everybody else is still around.
Yeah. As far as I know, yeah. Dave Keyes, from the sounds of it, was a great sportsman. He was kind of picked out as, in terms of technique or kind
He was, yeah, he was. He was a gentle giant, quiet man.
a huge guy. I looked at the photos.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, very, very tall man. He was, I think he rode 5 or 3 maybe.
He was 3
in the pot. Yeah, he was a big gentle giant. Yeah, I think that was one of the things about that crew. Actually, there weren't very many big boisterous guys. Most people were kind of quiet guys that went about their business.
Yeah.
Maybe apart from the stroke, it was could be a bit emotional at times. Yeah.
See, like you see the name the animals kind of can bring all sorts of connotations.
Yeah.
Can you remember what was your interpretation of where it came from?
I don't know.
What they were talking about?
I don't know where it came from. I think it probably came from the fact that it was a big crew, physically big, and we probably weren't renowned for the sartorial elegance, I guess, you know. But I don't know where the name came from. Who put the name on that crew? I don't know.
The commercial women seem to get a mention.
Do they?
As the origins of it.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
From observing the crew there on the water.
Yeah.
On the water and possibly elsewhere.
Yeah, I doubt it elsewhere, you know, I doubt it. But maybe.
I think the hairstyles and the
Yeah. Well, it was, you know, it was the early 70s, like, you know, we all had long freaking hair, you know. And beards and raggedy, big, long, I mean, not short trimmed, you know, tidy beards, big, long, raggedy beards.
some impressive sight, I think.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of that too. Yeah. So I don't know where that name came from.
Yeah.
There weren't very many women's crews at the time anyway. There were very few. Yeah, commercial had a women's crew. I think that was about it.
Yeah, I suppose you got started in 74, was it?
It was after my time anyway.
I think Martin coached their first women crew, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's probably it, I'd say now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's good to get the kind of your point of view on it. As you say, someone not as big as the rest of them.
No. Yeah. Well, I was lucky. You know, I was lucky to get on that crew. You know, so.
I hear, look, I mean, Jay Brennan talked about Luke, and it was interesting to hear him talk about Luke, because he considered himself lucky to have come into the crew when he did, you know.
Yeah.
And he came into it and said before that he said the system was there, you know, he knew what he had to do. And he got
Yeah.
in, and he talked about, you know, he went on to the Olympics, and he talks about still looking up to the guys, you know, Jim Skelly, people like that. He still looks up to them and still considers them the people he was trying to be
To emulate, yeah.
the Olympics, you know.
Yeah,
And that it was just pure timing that he got
yeah,
that he got
yeah.
what he did, that he looks at the other guys and says, you know, they were him that should have been at the Olympics.
Sure, that's why, you know, luck plays a big role in everything. But certainly the like that core of that crew, Jim Skelly and Martin and Tom Galligan, you know, the core of that crew, they were the heartbeat of the club for a number of years, during those successful years. It wouldn't have happened without them. They and Tom Sullivan, and then there were other people that were on the edges of it, like myself, and you know, others that came and went. But Jay, when he came, I mean, Jay made a huge impact when he did come. So he more than deserved his seat in that context, you know. Yeah, sure, we're all lucky. You know, just that's the way it goes. That's life, sure, isn't it?
It's all about timing, yeah.
Timing and luck, and yeah, and a bit of work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned obviously Tom again. Like Tom was something Jim Skelly mentioned. You used to see Tom photos of Tom's crew on the wall, you know, and they were the crew to look up to.
Yeah.
Because they won the pot maybe 10 years before, you know. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
aspire to be. So it's one thing we're going to make sure we get the photos back up, you know.
Yes,
See
yeah.
what you're part of. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
100-year story.
100-year story, and we're, you know, that was a chapter of it, but it wasn't the only chapter. There's lots of other chapters as well. We were lucky, you know. We just happened to be in an era, a golden era, really, for UCD rowing. It was, you know, a privilege and an honour to be part of it, but it was, you know, it just happened to be us at that time, you know. Better oarsmen have probably been before us and were after us, but we just happened to be, whatever combination of circumstances were in the place at the time.
That's the thing, if you could figure it out and repeat it, but yeah, it's hard to know what the specific.
Yeah, what the ingredient is or was. I mean, then guards had their kind of day in the sun, you know, after that, and they seem to have vanished kind of without trace. Whereas UCD haven't, you know. There's a continuity in UCD, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been competitive, I suppose, but I mean, it still amazes me that, like last year we were talking about the senior rates, and you know, senior rate was a real possibility.
Yeah.
When you look back, the club had won one senior rate in 40 years, you know,
Since that time.
3 in a row. There was one in 2011, which is quite recent, you know.
Yeah.
So there's always been that little. They've always been competitive there. There's always.
Yeah.
But actually, in terms of winning
Yeah.
the senior rate and national championship senior rate, you know, it's
Yeah.
elusive.
Yeah.
It's tough, and it's crazy to look back and see that we once won 3 in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. Which seemed kind of natural, actually, you know, at that time.
As I say, Jay said he came into it and he was just, this is what you do.
Yeah. You go out and you win. Yeah. Yeah.
He said you didn't have to question it. You just
Yeah. Well, yeah. You kind of didn't exactly expect it, but you weren't surprised, you know. The other thing that's quite striking is the number of sons of oarsmen who've kind of come into the thing and gone through UCD. My son, I know Jay's son, Jim's son, Martin's son, you know, and daughter. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, as you say, the kind of effect it had on you guys, like the kind of the love you got for it, you know.
Yeah.
You almost couldn't help but pass it on.
Yeah. I have 2 cool photographs. One is from 1972, UCD and Henley. I had a photograph taken from a certain spot on the river, and I'm in the bow seat. And 30 years later, same spot on the river, UCD crew, my son in the bow seat, from taken just by coincidence in exactly the same spot. It's really cool.
It's great, actually. It's one kind of angle I hadn't thought about in the
Yeah.
history, because when you have 100 years, you're going to have things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder are there any other, I know that Jim Skelly actually mentioned, or his wife mentioned that he had won Dublin Head, I think. He won Dublin Head when he was rowing with UCD.
Yeah.
UCD didn't win it again. He seems to think they hadn't been the fastest crew until his son.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah.
His son won it then.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was the next UCD crew to win it.
Yeah. Well, it will because Jay's son's road, Martin's son's road, two of them, I think. His daughter, Jim's son road. There's probably a number of them, I suspect, you know. So, yeah, it's a good thing to do, to try and capture the history before we all fucking die off.
Yeah, well, part of it is just that it's almost the prototype for kind of UCD running where they obviously we have juniors, people come in having rowed when they were younger, but the real kind of, it feels like the real sort of UCD crews are the ones made up of the guys who took it up.
Yeah.
You would never heard of rowing, you know, and they just happened to wander down and
Yeah.
took it up. And like the crew last year, I mean, it was four of the guys in senior 8 had taken it up 2 years previously, you know, and they kind of moved through the ranks very quickly. There were parallels.
Yeah, sure, I think all of our crew, I don't think any of our crew have rowed before they came to UCD. You know, it's an amazing sport like that you can get to a very elite level very quickly if you put in the dedication. You know, you couldn't do that in most sports.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was any schoolboy rowers in our crew. They all.
That's kind of what's interesting about it. It's almost the use of the typical like the UCD way like that.
Yeah.
And it was so successful that way as well.
Well, was yeah. Yeah. And we all, I don't know how the other, but I certainly just blundered into it in a way, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like, as you say, trying to figure out what came together, but when you hear the stories of how the guys started, it is just...
I mean, I used to play hurling. That was my sport. And I don't know what, you know, going around the Freshers Week, looking at the various stands and just came to the boat club stand and thought, Jesus, yeah, sure, maybe give that a go. And then dropped out and then just happened to run into Tom Stokes, the captain. He said, because they were obviously short of guys to sit in boats, he kind of bet me back out again, you know. That was it.
Yeah, it's funny how there's so many kind of chance encounters
Yeah.
came together.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of like the story of the accents
I hadn't actually heard that.
being targeted as the...
Well, big lumps of fellas from up the country. I hadn't heard that, no. I hadn't heard that.
That's
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon you can leave there.
Yeah, sure, yeah, okay.